All right, welcome guys to the April review of the diet. Let's kick things off with, I think, grabbing my computer charger. 1 second. Let's just get things going. First thing, I want to go over what the diet was from the beginning. And so I've got my sheet. It's always good to uh, write down the goals you have, write down the idea, the plan. And so going over what the plan was, there's basically two parts of it. One is I want to practice my beliefs and morals, and I feel like a diet is a good metaphor for if I'm practicing the other things in my life. I found that anytime I skipped on my diet or ate something that I knew I shouldn't have, it was often coupled with me skipping on my morals or skipping on like being a good person or something like I to myself usually, and being positive and uh, proactive. And so the diet is sort of trying to make sure I'm sticking with other things in my life as well, and that's really motivating to me. And the other part of it is I want to stick to the diet even if I'm in a group setting with other people, because I think if I want to be myself and I want to be myself in society, a good metaphor for that is a diet, to stick with your diet. If you say no, you say, I'm sticking with my plan, then you are sticking with yourself, you're sticking with your beliefs and making it a point to be yourself around other people. And I think that's important. I think that's something we should all try to be, is be ourselves, because oh man, that's so cliche. We want to be ourselves around other people because we want to bring about like change and new ideas to the people we're around, and bring about ourselves. Like, you don't really love someone if you're not yourself around them. You need to trust them and be yourself around them. Otherwise, like, it's just not good. It's not good to not be yourself. And so by sticking to my diet around other people, I'm practicing being myself and being a little bit different around the people I'm with. And so, with that being said, let's move on. The next thing I was going to do was bring up, and I will show you guys right now. I've got my computer here, and so you guys will be able to see my. Why is OBS not working? I've got a list of every single time that I failed throughout the month, every single time I cheated throughout the month. And so you can see here's the list. And what I wanted to talk about, you can see the list here. I want it to be known that it's here. I did keep track of everything that I cheated on. But I want to skip past this because there's something that I realize the biggest part is I'm trying to learn here, trying to learn things. And I want to skip past this and focus on these 2 points, because instinctively, when I started this diet, I was going to keep track of failures and make sure to, in this video, go about, analyze each one of them in depth and say how I was feeling, if it was a good or bad decision, blah, blah, blah. And like almost like a practice of like self-punishment or something. And what I realized is that that's just terrible. And it's something I do with a lot of my life, is hold on to past failures and think about them and let them define who I am. And whenever I think about them, I hold on to them. And when I move forward, I have them in my mind, and it just makes it more apparent in my life. It makes me more likely to fail when I think about these failures. And it also, it's just really not good. It's not good to do that. Like, it's terrible to do that. You're just being, not believing in yourself. When you're thinking of all these failures, you need to believe that you can be a better person in the future, and you need to let those things go. And I think I did it out of good intention. I do it because like this, I did out of good intention, is because I don't want to let myself off on stuff, and I don't want to lie to you guys about me sticking to the diet. And it makes me stay honest, because I know I have to present this to you guys after each month. But at the same time, I think keeping track of my failures is not good. I think a good example of this is like in the movie Nemo. Dory has short-term memory loss. Okay, she doesn't keep track of her failures. She doesn't keep track of all the times she failed. She, every 5 seconds or so, she's open to new ideas, and she's ready to move forward and move on, no matter what happened beforehand. And Marlin, on the other hand, Nemo's dad, he has so much stuff pent up in the back of his mind. He's so grumpy, uh, doesn't want to move forward. He's scared. And he, he couldn't have done it without Dory, without Dory's like sense of exploration and like moving forward. And Dory oftentimes becomes like this sense of relief, because it doesn't matter what happened in the past. You just kind of gotta look forward with these things and let go of those feelings you have. And this brings me to the second point of self-identity. Okay, so when you think of all these failures, you start to identify with them, and you can't do that. You just need to forget. You need to start each day new and not identify with these failures, because at the end of the day, like, you're taking things too seriously. Just like move on. It's a new day. Stop thinking about these things in the past. Just focus on today, focus on doing stuff today, and believe that you can do good, and not and don't hold yourself back by holding on to all the failures you have and carrying those along with you. And I feel like if I continue this diet and I keep holding on to just the failures I had, I'm going to eventually identify with them and just degrade myself. And so there's a certain sense, I know from looking at these failures, I have some in bold where there are specific points that I really screwed up, basically because of me like just having like a bad day. But I'm not going to let bad days, I've had much worse weeks than this. And I feel like it's better to focus on the times that I've actually resisted, because there's a lot of times where I've actually done so well this month. Like, this has been the best month of diet I think I've ever stuck to. Maybe not quite, but it's been the most consistent and easy way that I've been able to stick to a diet. And I think that has something to say for it. And so I'm not going to focus on these failures. I'm just going to move forward. I made some mistakes, but I'm going to move forward and try to like let go and just move on with today, and just treat each day new, treat each situation new, and not hold on to this past identity of sucking at this diet or holding on to these past failures. So I think that's a huge point. And I think it's something you guys should focus on too. If you don't, I struggle with that. So there's that. Now, a little bit more of a review. How I felt. I felt slightly weak and lightheaded. And so this was a thing that happened. And I think it's because of high carbohydrate intake at wrong times throughout the day, and also possibly due to creatine. So I'm going to keep track of my creatine, keep track of maybe that's what's making me lightheaded. I think it might be. And then also, in regards to high carb intake and bad timings, changes going forward, I'm not going to snack on carbs. It's not good. I found that when I snack on stuff, I'm less focused on my studies, and I'm less appreciative of the stuff I'm eating. I want to be intentional. I want to have 2 intentional meals a day where I'm really appreciating the food I'm eating, and I'm intentionally making food that I know will be good for me, that I know will fuel my body. And so no snacking, no snack carbohydrates. And then second of all, easier grocery shopping. Grocery shopping has been really easy. And I guess I covered, those are the two changes, is this no snacking and then also higher protein. I think that also might help with the lightheadedness. So I'm going to try be getting higher protein. And then keeping track of the times I won. I just spoke about this. So, okay, done with that. Some other things that I learned. One is milk and honey. Even though I set a strict diet, I can still fall into seeking pleasure, I can still fall in the bad habits of like binge eating on the diet. It reminded me of like the Greeks or the Romans, where they talk about how some people just spend their days drinking milk and eating honey, drinking milk and honey. And that wound up happening. Like there was one night I was having a glass of milk and like having some honey, and I was like, oh my goodness. There still is ways that I can like fail in my life and like screw up things, even though I'm on this diet. Like I'm not, it's not a safe haven. I can still screw up. I can still find ways to screw up. And so being cognizant of that and not giving in to these pleasures, whether it's milk and honey or it's donuts and I don't know what else, Mountain Dew, is essential. Like I need to realize there's other ways that I can fail. And I think that goes for a lot of things. Just because you're doing something that's different that you think is like super optimized doesn't mean you can't fail. Doesn't mean you're still not capable of screwing up. So you always need to be cognizant of what you're doing and move forward with good intentions, because you find the devil where you're not looking. And so that's that. And then also, I went over this, but it's not just what you eat, it's how you eat and when you eat it. So me snacking on carbs throughout the day was really not good. So being intentional about what I'm eating and eating at certain times of the day and resisting at other times, I think makes me a better person and makes the diet better, makes me feel better. By resisting, makes me feel better morally, because I'm choosing the harder way out, and also like it actually makes me feel better not snacking on carbs every day, going through these up and down cycles. And then finally, I guess to end this requires you to be proactive. It requires you to be brave. Any change you make in your life requires you to wake up each day with a new mindset, to forget the past, and to move forward happily, proactively, and actionably. Do you like that camera shake? Happily, proactively, and actionably throughout each day. Wake up with a smile on your face and choose to be you, and be brave about that. And by you doing that, you will succeed and you'll grow as a person. But it takes some bravery. It takes you to stand with your chest up and walk forward each day, and enjoy the day and smile. And so, moving forward, I'm going to be more forgetful. I'm going to keep track of the times I won. I'm not going to identify with my failures, and I'm going to still stick with the diet. That hasn't been a question. It's going until December, but it's just how I stick with it is what's going to change. And so, being more forgetful, walking forward each day, smiling, enjoying the day, taking responsibility for what I have in my life, and appreciating it, and not letting this diet be something that consumes me or that I use in a bad way. Just letting things kind of manifest and enjoying things. I don't know, there's a really cliche way to end this, but what can I say? All right. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys next month. I wish you the best in whatever you guys are trying to do in your lives. And I hope this was helpful. I hope you gained something from it. If it wasn't, please comment something down below. Ways that I can improve this review. I feel like it was a little lackluster, but overall, I just had to do it. Maybe it sucks, but at least I tried. So, yeah. Best of luck. Goodbye. Peace.